That's very good to finish, but I do have a question, two questions.
Sure.
First, now we heard a lot about the chemical factories in all the countries. Do you think the invasion, Russian invasion to Ukraine, because of the supposed chemical factory, is justified with that, like the invasion, USA invasion to Iraq, because of the same reason? Do you think, can we say today this invasion is justified with some chemical factory which are not approved yet?
Yeah.
It's a very big question, because
yeah, I agree.
we have an invasion. Could we justify any invasion in other country because of somebody think they're doing something wrong?
Well, I think preemptive strikes, you need to have a tremendous amount of proof before you can justify a preemptive strike. But what I'm calling out is Americans' hypocrisy, because Colin Powell shook the yellow cake and said that's why we were going to attack Iraq, and we started a 20-year war, and it turned out there wasn't the WMD. So how can Americans now say with Putin, and Lavrov say that's why they're going in, how can they be so high on their horse, after 20 years? But I don't agree with the preemptive unless you show tremendous amount of evidence. John F. Kennedy, before the Cuban Missile Crisis, he said, there's the launcher 1, there's launcher 2, there's launcher 3. And he didn't invade. He said, we're going to do a quarantine. So I think maybe a quarantine, I don't know how you do a quarantine without doing what Putin did, but something less than, maybe just like moving into Donetsk and Lugansk in a protective way or something like that, where the people invited him in rather than, full-scale invasion.
You don't approve to...
No, I don't approve, unless you had more proof. That's why I say now he needs to put the proof out. He's done 3 releases that sort of show documents, but he needs to show the actual, vials of this stuff, and he needs scientists who say
Because there was any proof to find a chemical weapon in Iraq. So we do have some history experience of this.
Historical precedent.
Just the aggression of some big countries, powerful country. So I think world should say no.
Right.
To all.
I agree with you. Disapprove.
Now we have the other question. So we discussed a lot of corona issues last 2 years. A lot of conspiracy ideas how the corona. We heard every chemical or medical institute has something to do with corona, because the corona was not so dangerous virus.
Yeah.
But do we have the other solutions to prevent all these dyings between this corona epidemic without the repressions? Is there any other reason, other way, except the mask, the limitations, the temporary limitation, the freedom of people? So is there any other, because all the world is doing the same, actually, almost.
I think transparency in these programs is the number one thing, and if you do them under the secrecy of the State Department, diplomatic immunity, then you hide from people. And if we're all trying to solve disease together, we should share more information. In the breakout of the World Military Games, they didn't share the information. They held the information. They destroyed the patient records. They didn't share the blood samples of the State Department, etc. Now, the person that I talked about in March 2020, when CNN came after me in 60 Minutes, they were the person who did the training for the people at the Wuhan lab, which turned out to have a leak in September, where lab employees got sick, was Virginia Benassi, the same person who was getting the bids. Now, if,
the Benassi surname is 2000's common surname in the world, so it's very often in India, and so
yeah,
it could be.
Yeah, it could be. All I'm saying is, as a reporter, I need to follow the money and follow the
Trace the money.
Yeah, and trace the intelligence agencies and see what happens.